season is upon us, Dan Rubenstein.
Yes, sir.
Bowl season is upon us. That also means bowl pick'em season is upon us. We happen to be running a gigantic confidence pool known as Winter Wonders, are we not?
Yeah, we are. Winter Wonders, of course, in reference to top flight receiving talent that can make a difference come bigger bowl games, but it's such a turn of phrase that we had to use it for our ginormous bowl confidence pool. Winter Wonders, playwinterwonders.com.
It is free, as Dan said. Go to playwinterwonders.com to get in. There are tens upon tens upon tens of thousands of you listening to this show. I know because we see the numbers.
Yeah.
Only a small fraction of you have entered. This is your official cue to go out there and do so because it is free. Now, the purpose of today's episode is to give you a crash course. There are 43 bowl games if you include the national championship. We're going to go through all of them.
Oh, my God. Really? We got
going-
to hurry up.
We are going through all of them, and we're going to give you just enough to be dangerous. Of course, we're going to go back through. We will go into more detail with some of the bigger games, the New Year's Six, the playoffs, the national championship, other games of intrigue. We will do that over the course of the next month or so. But since we are telling everybody to join this bowl pool, and since the games start next weekend, we're recording this on Wednesday, December the 6th, we thought the least we could do is give you a 101, an intro to bowl season that you can use to go forth into the verballerhood and at least make some picks. That's where things stand right now.
It's true. It's absolutely true. I have strong thoughts. I have weak thoughts. I have medium thoughts. I'm ready to go Goldilocks on bowl season, Ty.
So again, go to playwinterwonders.com. All are welcome to play. Like I said, there are many upon many of you who listen to this show. A small fraction, less than 1%, have entered the Winter Wonders Bowl confidence pool at time of recording. Here is how the game works, okay? There are 43 bowl games, if you include the national championship. The way the game works is you go through, you pick straight winners in every game, not against the point spread. You just pick which team you think is going to win, which in bowl season is way harder than it looks. Trust me. Then you go back through and you rank them. You put 43 points next to the game that you're most confident in, all the way down to number 1, that being the game you are least confident in. And at the end, we add up all your points, all your confidence points, as it were, and that's how we determine who wins and who doesn't win. The grand prize winner, Dan, gets a $250 credit to Pristine Auction, as well as some Pristine Auction swag. You get a one-of-one limited edition Winter Wonders Championship t-shirt, which I have had the good fortune of seeing up close and personal.
It's a nice one.
And we're also going to throw in a congratulatory cameo from Fox Sports TV referee Dean Blandino.
Mandatory. Always mandatory.
Mandatory. That is the way it works, but that is not all. If you finish in the top 11, everybody gets at least a $50 credit to Pristine Auction. So never before
Unbelievable.
have we done this thing where we give out so many prizes, so many cool prizes that people are into. Never before have we done, I think, a pool of this magnitude, this scale, where it is free for literally the entire verballerhood. So we are very, very excited about this. We'll not only talk through games, I'll give you my strategy, our tried and true strategy on this show. This is going to be about an hour worth of content that you just want to, like Neo, put the spike in the back of your head and just download. You know what I mean?
You know exactly where to fade Ty now. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. Shall we make this a December to remember? Shall we just dive in?
I love a December to remember, Ty. We're wrapping up our picks in the novelty size bow with the gently falling snow softly caressing the driveway of your bowl heart. Right?
Just let that play a little bit longer.
It's beautiful, Ty. When this is all over, when bowl season's over, should we rent a cabin together and just sit by the fire and talk about the good times?
Drink some hot cocoa and not look at college football for like 3 months. Just
that'd be
to
great.
Decompress. It would.
Yeah.
Okay. So a bowl confidence pool, we've been doing this since the beginning of time. It is the most fun I think you and I have with any bowl pools.
Yeah.
Any pick'em pools, I should say. We
Agree.
really enjoy doing this. There are a couple rules, though, that you and I have, I think, refined over the course of time. If possible, I'd like to go through those now.
Okay.
Because there are people listening to this, like, what is a confidence pool? How do you pick a confidence pool?
This is your ethos.
These are my rules that I go by.
These are the central bowl tenets that have grown to define you come the holiday season.
Here is how I pick a bowl confidence pool.
Okay.
The first rule is the East Coast Elliott rule. And it is, for my money, the most important of all rules if you are picking in this kind of pool. East Coast Elliott, and look, East Coast Elliott, he's been a frequent character on this show over the last 15 years or so. This is his rule. It is not mine, but I apply it and it works. Here is the way that you want to pick your bowl pool. Doesn't matter which teams you pick to win or lose, that's on you. But his rule has always been load up early with confidence points. So put all your confidence points on the early games so that when it comes to the latter games in bowl season, the ones that typically end up being closer and harder to pick, you don't have to worry about having like 43 points on them. A lot of sites out there, whether you're playing with us or with somebody else, they default it so that they put 1 point on the very first game and 43 points on the national championship. But we have always found that those later games are harder to predict because you've got more opt-outs, you've got more variables to consider. Instead, flip it. It's the early games that end up being the bigger mismatches.
So if there's a game sponsored by an entity where you couldn't even pick the industry, the sector in which that sponsor lies, that's the game to load up on.
That's exactly right. So flip the script, put most of your confidence points early, get them out of the way. That way, when you get to the playoff, you can just enjoy it. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, so that's the first rule. It's the most important rule. People have been doing that in our pools forever. It is certainly not a foreign concept for one of our verballers to enter into the big ESPN one, which we're not doing this year. But people have entered into the ESPN.com pool before and have finished like top 10 because of this rule.
I love that. Okay, so that's the biggie. Yeah.
That's the biggie. The second rule is you got to pick teams that care.
Yeah.
This has always been the key to bowl pools, to confidence pools. And I think, especially in this day and age, coaches that leave play a pretty big factor. But you also have new variables that are, I think, growing in importance. So things like opt-outs. I'm going to talk a lot about opt-outs here over the next hour.
Yeah.
Transfers is very much a thing. We just did a show on that. It's not easy to figure out which teams are going to care and which teams are just sort of there for the trip. So I have a 3-step process for determining this.
Okay.
The first is if a team played like crap down the stretch, don't pick them.
Okay.
Don't pick them. I'll talk through what that means. 2, maybe your team didn't play like crap, but if they're about to be decimated by either injuries or opt-outs or transfers, that means a whole lot of new faces getting snaps. It doesn't mean those guys don't care, but it means that the team is not the same team that you watched all season.
Right.
So at least consider maybe going in the opposite direction.
Or if the coach left and took like 7 assistants with him and it's just like 3.5 dudes on the sideline coaching them, that could be trouble.
That's exactly right. And then the third thing is if a team did lose its coach, consider picking against them. Yeah. I think this is less important a factor than the last month of the season, how a team looked or what the opt-out or transfer situation is. We've seen plenty of teams do just fine with an interim, which is why I tend to look at this last. But like Boise State's a good example, right? Boise State, we looked at that conference championship game. It's like, well, they lost Andy Avalos. Well, they also have looked pretty good since losing Andy Avalos, so maybe just don't factor that in. That one I think is touch and go.
Well, also they just lost their quarterback as well, who won the Mountain West Championship. Yeah,
they just lost their quarterback. Okay,
and their backup quarterback is hurt as well. I think they're turning to a third string in their bowl game. Yeah,
absolutely. But you get my point on the coaching front.
Yeah,
and then the final 2 rules are 2 quickies, and they're from you. Rule number 3: don't pick MAC teams.
Yeah, fade the MAC. It actually it didn't really work out for me last year, but overall, in terms of a talent disparity, if you're going to look at any conference, maybe this is just me, but I tend to favor conferences playing the MAC, all things being equal.
Fade the MAC.
Fade the MAC.
And rule number 4: use defenses as indicators for effort.
Yes.
Ones that prevent big plays, ones that are good at tackling, teams that have a good pass rush.
Red zone defense, pass rush, yes.
If the name of the game is about having some gauge for effort,
Mm-hmm.
defense is a pretty good place to start your quest.
Yeah.
And so you've always used defense as, I think, the primary indicator for who you're going to pick or not pick.
Yeah, and if any of these bowl games are giving away OGO slides, the footwear situation, it's going to favor the team that has more comfortable feet. Not a sponsor, could be. Yeah, I mean, look, it changes every year, and all of these are subject to change because of opt-outs, of just how mobile the sport is right now, where you're just like, well, they have a better defense, but the 2-star defensive linemen are, opting out or going to the transfer portal, so who knows?
There you go. Those are our 4 rules to go by.
Yes.
In bowl confidence pools. Shall we go through all of these damn games?
Let's dance.
Let's do it.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. And I want to have them answered immediately.
Thank you, Arnold, ringing us in. This is our crash course, Dan.
Yeah.
Let's start. There are a bunch of games on the first day of bowl season, December the 16th. The very first one is the Myrtle Beach Bowl, December the 16th, 11 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN. It is Georgia Southern at 6-6. It is Ohio at 9-3. This is a classic battle of 2 half teams. Georgia Southern, coached by Clay Helton, you remember him. Solid on offense, not great at creating big plays, but they are efficient. Terrible on defense. Terrible on defense. Meanwhile, the exact opposite is true for Ohio. Ohio's got the 13th best defense in the SP+, but they don't know how to score. They don't know how to score, and now they're going to be taking on water because they're losing their starting wide receiver, their starting running back, their backup running back, all 3 of them headed to the transfer portal. So right out of the chute, for me, conflicting rules. Do you pick the team that played poorly down the stretch, or do you just avoid the team from the MAC?
I would take Ohio here, though I think they have a bunch of opt-outs. So
they do have a bunch of opt-outs, right? Which I just went through.
Yeah.
Georgia Southern lost 4 straight to close out the year. Ohio won 3 straight. I'm going to go Ohio. I'm going to say low confidence because I think this is close, but give me Ohio, the Bobcats here in the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
Yeah, back half of the season was not kind to Georgia Southern. I'm going Ohio as well, medium confidence.
The Cricket Celebration Bowl. This is a good one. This is Howard at 6-5. This is Florida A&M at 11-1. This is 12 noon Eastern time on ABC. I am putting all of my points, all 43 of my confidence points, on the Florida A&M Rattlers. This is speaking to me, man. This is what I'm talking about with bowl pools. Put your confidence points on the early games, get them out of the way. Florida A&M has something that they call the dark cloud defense, which is the exact level of college football nerdery that I am into. I crave this level of hokiness when they give your defense a name. This is the best defense in all of FCS. It's allowed just 14.5 points per game. This will be a formidable test against Howard, who knocked off North Carolina Central by 30 points a couple weeks ago. But all considering the factors here, we go Florida A&M, 11-1 regular season, Cricket Celebration Bowl, high confidence, 43 confidence points. Just get them out of the way, man.
Howard right there with Big Ten West Northwestern. They were right there. Wasn't it 23-20?
It was.
24-21, something like that. Okay.
I'm all in on Florida A&M in the defense.
Battle tested. I disagree. I'm going Howard.
The dark cloud defense. All right. Your turn. R&L Carriers, New Orleans Bowl. It's Louisiana 6-6, Jacksonville State 8-4. 16th of December, 2:15 Eastern time on ESPN. What do you got?
So Louisiana finished losing 3-4, but it was tight at Troy. If you remember, a strong pass rush for Louisiana. They've won 3 of their last 4 bowl games. This is the first FBS year for Jacksonville State.
That's right.
It's Rich Rod. They start 5-1, though they did finish losing 2 of 3. Another team with a good pass rush. I think Jacksonville State has the defensive edge here, especially against the run. So I go back and forth, but I'm going Jacksonville State here.
Going Gamecocks.
I'm going Gamecocks here. Low confidence.
Low confidence.
Going against the East Coast Elliott. Low. Actually, I'll up that to medium.
Medium confidence.
Yes.
It's like a 25er. Somewhere
Correct.
in that range. Okay. Cure Bowl. App State 8-5. Miami, Ohio 11-2. Also on 16th of December, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. Who you got?
Yeah, so App State finished their year winning 5 of 6. I know you like that. That's including James Madison on the road. They're led by their passing game, though they do get pushed around on the ground. They're the runner-up of the Sun Belt with that asterisk because of James Madison's inability to compete for it. Miami won the MAC behind strong defense, though their quarterback just opted out.
I saw that. Yeah.
They did a good job generating and stopping explosive plays. But they beat Miami, they lost to Miami in a Miami Cup, and then they went 11-1 over the course of the year after that game. They lost the Bahamas Bowl last year. I'm still going to do Miami of Ohio with high confidence. High confidence because
Why high?
Because of the defense. Because I think the defense is going to travel.
Okay. So this is, again, one of the guiding precepts for Dan Rubenstein in bowl season.
Yes.
Use the defense as a barometer.
But it is a MAC team, but it is the MAC champion, which is
The
a
MAC
different
champion.
level.
So you think a different breed of MAC.
Yep, even without the quarterback.
I'm going to go App State.
Okay.
I go App State low confidence. But, again, I reserve the right to change my mind on all of these picks. The way that the pool is set up, by the way, they don't lock right away. So if you want to go back through, if you want to make changes, if new information becomes available about an opt-out or something like that, you're only locked into whatever game is played on that day. But moving forward, if you want to make, this is a month-long endeavor here, this bowl pool. So you can go back, you can make changes if you feel the need to do so, and I might change mine to Miami, Ohio. We'll see. I don't know how to say this. Is this the Isleta New Mexico Bowl? The Isleta New Mexico Bowl?
Yes.
Yes.
One of those.
One of those. December the 16th, 5:45 Eastern Time on ESPN. It is New Mexico State, 10-4. It is Fresno State at 10-4. Jeff Tedford is stepping away for health reasons. I don't know if you saw that.
For this game. I don't think he's retiring as head coach.
No.
He's just stepping away. Yeah.
Stepping away. The linebacker coach, Tim Skipper, is going to be filling in.
Mm-hmm.
Fresno's got a safety in the portal, but it's not like they play defense anyway this year. You want to talk about defense? Let's talk about defense. I'm more interested in Diego Pavia, the quarterback for New Mexico State, who was hurt, came back and played in the conference championship game. They lost to Liberty. He got hurt again, but had a pretty good game before going out. I just say, man, you got to have a code. You know what my code is. Fresno lost 3 in a row to end the season. They had 2 really bad losses to New Mexico, not the state version, just New Mexico, which just hired Bronco Mendenhall, by the way.
Yeah.
As well as San Diego State. Their coach is gone. New Mexico State is playing in the New Mexico Bowl. I am on the Aggies, medium confidence.
I mean, they beat the pseudo-SEC champion Auburn Tigers with how close they played both Georgia and Alabama. So I'm going Diego Pavia, who is beat up, but at the same time, de facto home game, de facto Super Bowl, de facto champion, New Mexico State here.
LA Bowl hosted by Gronk.
Correct.
How do you feel about the Gronkification of society right now? I feel like he's all over the place.
I feel great about it. He seems okay.
You're a Gronk guy?
You can do a lot worse than Gronk in this life, Ty. You can do a lot worse. Where is he from? Western New York? He's from the Buffalo area?
I think he's from PA, isn't he?
Gronk? Maybe I'm wrong. I thought he was from up there somewhere, but
I don't know. He's from somewhere over here.
Right. Somewhere on your side of the world.
That's right.
Boise State, UCLA. Boise in a weird situation. Obviously, the Mountain West champs. They finished the season winning 5 of 6, despite firing their coach, Andy Avalos. The defense, much improved. By the way, Ahmed Hassanin from Egypt, an absolute stud on this defensive line for Boise State. Pay attention to him in this one against a really beat-up, weakened UCLA team. So Boise State, anyway, Taylor Green starting quarterback in the portal. Maddox Madsen is hurt, so it's a third-string freshman likely quarterback playing right now. And I mentioned UCLA being hit hard by transfers. They also lost their defensive coordinator across the city to USC. Their defense, even with opt-outs or whatever's going to happen with the look of this unit, is not going to be the same as it was at the end of the year. UCLA also finished the year losing 3 or 4, including getting absolutely drubbed by Cal on the road. UCLA lost the Sun Bowl to Pitt last year. Boise won the Frisco Bowl last year. I'm going Boise, even with a freshman, even with an interim turned new head coach, Spencer Danielson. Give me Boise because I think there's more juice around the program right now. Ethan Garber should be back for UCLA, I believe.
Man, I got to go UCLA. I don't know. That's a lot to absorb.
Ashton Ginty announced he's coming back. Come on, Ty.
I do like Ashton Ginty. I don't know. This is one of those games that I'm going to need to come back to at some point.
UCLA loses their quarterback of the future to the portal. I just don't think it's UCLA's offseason. I think it's 1-2-3 Cancun. Easy flight from LAX.
Okay. Level of confidence on that one again?
What did I write down here? I have Boise medium.
Boise medium.
Yeah.
Boise. Okay. The Radiance Technology Independence Bowl, the final game on 16th of December, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Texas Tech 6-6, Cal 6-6 as well. This is an interesting matchup.
Sure.
I don't know who I'd pick in this matchup. I kind of like Texas Tech more. Tyler Shuck is in the portal. He's going to Louisville, so he's not going to be playing.
Hasn't been playing.
Hasn't
the Baron
been
Morton
playing.
team, yeah.
Has not been playing, right? So it is Cal, a team that I think we were very interested in the preseason. And Cal, by hook or by crook, got the 6 wins. Some interesting pieces on that team. Whatever you think of Justin Wilcox, they're in a bowl game here against Texas Tech. It feels to me like Tech is the better team, like far and away the better team here.
So the Texas Tech defense is a bit ahead of their fully not explosive offense, though Texas Tech did win 3 of 4 to end the year. Second, but they scored 30 points once since October 7th.
Really?
Once. Not ideal. Cal's led by their rushing attack. Jaden Ott just made Pac-12 first-team honors, which probably shouldn't have been the case, but nonetheless, that's what he was awarded. Okay. Cal's defense is a mess, which is weird to say about Justin Wilcox, but it's been a mess for some time now. They finished the year, though, winning 3 in a row. This is Cal's first bowl game since 2019. Texas Tech has won 2 straight bowl games over each of the Mississippi schools. I am taking Cal. I just think we're going to get a shootout here. This is a rematch of the 2004 Holiday Bowl after Mac Brown campaigned against Aaron Rodgers and Cal to make a big bowl game, and Texas Tech went on to drub them. I just think it's a different year, and I think Cal has a little bit more motivation, even though they don't have the defensive edge here. I watched Texas Tech, Texas. I think I believe Fernando Mendoza and Cal have the edge here.
I read earlier on Reddit that the sponsor of this bowl game may be in possession of and has reverse engineered alien technology. Don't know if that's true. Can't confirm it.
Right.
But that makes the game interesting to me.
I love that.
Let's go to the famous Toastery Bowl. Don't think they've got alien technology. I think they've got just good toast.
Is it like a brunch breakfast type place?
We got an email from Famous Toastery.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
To have somebody, I think, from Famous Toastery on.
Was it from the bowl game, or was it of the company Famous Toastery?
I think it was of the company.
To just talk about hash browns?
I mean, we could probably do that and enjoy it here.
Sure.
Western
that might be
Kentucky.
A solo Ty episode.
No, it's a solo Dan episode is what that is.
Yeah, continue.
Western Kentucky 7-5, Old Dominion 6-6. 18th of December, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. I have no idea who to pick in this game.
So the Western Kentucky, the topper offense leads the way. Shout out Malachi Corley, very good receiver, all Conference USA receiver. Their defense is fine. Western Kentucky basically beat beatable teams, lost to decent ones, and won 3 of 4 to end the year. Ricky Ronnie and ODU led by their own defense, especially the run defense. They beat both Georgia Southern and Georgia State to get bowl eligible. Plus, they had that big win over App State. They have an absolute tackling machine in Jason Henderson, an all-conference performer. Western Kentucky wins bowls. They won 3 of their last 4 bowls, and ODU lost the 2021 Myrtle Beach Bowl. All that said, I think I'm going to go with the defense here, and I'm going to go with the Monarchs. How about that?
I think I want to go Ricky Ronnie.
Okay. I'm going high confidence Monarchs.
High confidence.
Yeah.
High confidence. Again, put your confidence points on those early games.
Famous Toastery confidence.
If you have yet to go out to playwinterwonders.com, pause the episode, go out, register. It's free. Pick along with us. At least put something down on paper so you have picks that you can go back and modify later. Okay.
Ty, I'm sticking ODU, and in the Famous Toastery Bowl, I'm not waffling. You see what I did?
That's moving on. Moving on. Scooter's Coffee Frisco Bowl. So we've got Famous Toastery followed by Scooter's Coffee. It seems like a nice little tandem. 19th of December, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. It's UTSA at 8-4. It is Marshall at 6-6. UTSA lost in the American Championship to Tulane. So
By the way,
yep.
the Gronkowski family from Western Pennsylvania, Allegheny County. There's your fact check. That had to come in right there, of course. Continue.
All good. UTSA went up a level this year and got off to a rocky start. They were 1-3. After that, they won 7 straight once they found their bearings. They lost to Tulane in that American Championship game, but still a pretty good season. Jeff Traylor did not leave for another job. He is still there. So he was rumored for like all the big jobs, but he's still at UTSA. They are losing in this game the American Defensive Player of the Year, Trey Moore, who is in the portal. That is going to hurt them. But the anchor of the Marshall offensive line, Trent Holler, is also in the portal, and there's a good chance that their star running back, Rasheen Ali, is also going to opt out. So this is all a very long way of saying that I'm on UTSA here.
Yeah.
This is a bowl game about 4 hours, 40 minutes or so up the road in Frisco, Texas. I think UTSA has what it takes. The UTSA is playing, by and large, pretty well down the stretch. Give me UTSA high confidence, Dan. They're favored by 9.5.
And did I see this right?
Confidence.
So Frank Harris is coming back for yet another year?
Dude, how is this possible?
So Marshall doesn't have their quarterback, and UTSA is going to have Frank Harris until at least the mid-2030s. Frank Harris just had his 51st birthday trotting out there against Tulane.
Frank Harris is going to be a player coach at this point. If Jeff Traylor leaves, Frank Harris can just slide into that role. He knows the system at this point.
Frank Harris is currently 24 years old. He will finish his career being able to legally rent a car without paying a fee. That's great.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
The roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. This is one of those bowl logos that I sent to you that AI generated this, didn't it?
Great.
Not a whole lot of budget spent on graphic design for the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. It is South Florida at 6-6. It is Syracuse at 6-6. 21st of December, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. I have to put aside for a second, and I think you have to put aside for a second, this sudden rush of excitement that I think we both have for Syracuse football next season.
Fran Brown.
We are all in on Fran Brown. We are all in on Elijah Robinson.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see Elijah Robinson's comments?
No.
With respect to how he is handling the fact that he built a relationship with these defensive linemen, and now he's going to another place.
No, what did he say?
He gave an incredible series of comments on this, saying that he went to each of his players, he talked to all of their families, and instead of trying to recruit them to come with him to go to Syracuse, he instead was pretty adamant about Mike Elko is a good man. I coached for him. Give the new staff a chance to build a relationship with you before you decide to go elsewhere. If you're a fan of A&M, it's
classy dude.
It's the kind of thing that makes you well up. I mean, it was really, really classy of him. That said, it would really be a story if Walter Nolan went with him to Syracuse. I don't know if that's likely to happen, but the combination of Fran Brown coming from Georgia and now Elijah Robinson coming from A&M, both programs obviously having a ton of talent, an obvious, what am I looking for here? Just an overabundance of talent that could transfer to Syracuse.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me if Syracuse ends up being pretty good quickly. Can't count on that, but
probably not this bowl season.
Not this bowl season.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about here. Would you like to venture a guess as to how many bowl eligible teams USF and Syracuse beat this season? Collectively. The collective total.
0?
1.
1. Okay.
USF beat Rice back in week 4. And that's it.
Take that.
So Cuse fired Dino Babers. They replaced him with Fran Brown, with Elijah Robinson. We're going to end up being way too high on these guys next season. I can see it coming already. In the interim, they are piloted by Nunzio Capanile. Capanile. I don't know how you say it. For the time being, they're only losing Leon Lowry in the portal. He was their edge rusher. Both teams have been dreadful this season in spots. I do think the good vibes around Fran Brown, I'm sure he's met the team. I think there's going to be this renewed sense of purpose among guys on that squad. Cuse is only favored over USF by 3. I'm on Cuse with high confidence. I think those good vibes are going to be pervasive throughout the existing roster. Syracuse is going to go out there and play well and win.
Yeah, this is also an opportunity for guys on Syracuse specifically. Not that USF had some interesting games, obviously highlighted by the performance against Alabama defensively, and Alabama's lacrosse-eligible Notre Dame quarterback, I guess.
That's right.
This is an audition situation for Syracuse, auditioning for both the new coaches and auditioning potentially for the next 2 or 3 windows in the portal that, like, well, look, Syracuse didn't win a bunch of games, but look what this linebacker did, look what this left tackle did, whatever, in their playoff performance. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of excitement around Syracuse football here. So I'm going Cuse.
Union Home Mortgage, Gasparilla Bowl.
Yeah.
Gasparilla Bowl. 22 December, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. It is UCF 6-6. It is Georgia Tech 6-6. I screwed this one up on the sheet. You chastised me earlier.
It's okay.
For mixing up this one in the Birmingham Bowl. It's since been corrected on our website. If you go out to playwinterwonders.com, we've got a listing of all the games. We'll put some of our blurbs here to help guide you through, as well as the link to this episode, just to, I don't know, keep you up to date, give you a little bit of an extra resource for picking these games. But UCF, I saw maybe in the running for Grayson McCall.
Saw that.
Be an interesting move for them. That, of course, will not apply to bowl season. I'm pretty high on Georgia Tech. I don't know. I think the fact that they made it to a bowl game at all is pretty damn cool. It was a tough schedule for them. The fact that they made it is a nice feather in the cap of Brent Key. But who you got in this game?
So UCF, a lot of gas, a lot of breaks. For as much fun as that rushing attack was, the defense just allowed other teams to run really well. Georgia Tech, a better running team. Haynes King probably took too many liberties in the past game and ended up throwing a lot of interceptions. But this is, as you alluded to, this is Georgia Tech's first bowl game since 2018. Paul Johnson's final year. They took an L in the Quick Lane Bowl that year.
Long? 5 years? 6 years?
The Jeff Collins era was not really a postseason type era for
I didn't realize it was that long.
Jackets. Yep. UCF lost 2 of their last 3 bowl games, including last year's Military Bowl. But UCF during this season, they finished winning 3 of 4. I'm going with Georgia Tech here. I think they've got the juice. I think even against Georgia, right, they just don't back down from anybody. They generated turnovers and key moments. I'm going with Georgia Tech to put a nice exclamation point on the season.
Birmingham Bowl, 23 December, high noon, ABC. Duke 7-5, Troy 11-2. Now, this to me strikes me as a game where we could apply some of my rules because Duke is bleeding players. They've got all sorts of guys transferring. They just lost their coach. They're going up against a team in Troy that has a very, very good defense.
Yes.
And obviously a team that's been pretty solid the last couple seasons. This is not any sort of slouch matchup here. I know you and I both looked at a few of the computer projections. Troy seems like the team that the computers favor as well. So are you also going with the Trojans?
Yeah, I'm going with the Trojans with high confidence just because of a Duke program that is still very much undergoing a transition after losing, their quarterback, their head coach, their best defensive lineman. Look, the quarterback was beat up a chunk of the year anyway. So Duke finishes losing 2 of 3. And both of those losses were winnable. The North Carolina game, the Virginia game. As you alluded to, Troy led by their defense. The offense was pretty good, though. They were explosive, throwing the ball downfield. Javon Solomon is a problem off of the edge for Troy. Duke's only been to 1 bowl game since 2018. They did win last year's Military Bowl. Troy won last year's Cure Bowl after a drought of Chip Lindsey in his 3 years. So I'm going Troy because they come to play. They just won the Sun Belt. I'm in.
High, medium, low?
High.
Yeah. Okay. Camellia Bowl, Arkansas State at 6-6, Northern Illinois at 6-6, 23rd of December, high noon on ESPN. I just want to call out something about Arkansas State, the Red Wolves. They not only beat Texas State 77-31 in a game that literally nobody talked about, they also lost 73-0 against Oklahoma in week 1. So an interesting season for them, sort of the highs and the lows of the 70 burger for the Red Wolves. Limited sample size, but Arkansas State didn't do a single thing this season against teams that actually play defense. And so I think NIU can win ugly. It'll be a little more ugly than usual this time around because they lose Trayvon Rudolph, their best wide receiver, their best return man. He entered the portal. but I still think I'm on NIU here. Medium confidence.
Okay.
Amelia Bowl.
Fair enough.
Armed Forces Bowl, the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. This one, 23rd December, 3:30 Eastern Time on ABC. It is James Madison. James Madison in a bowl game because some of the other teams that would want to qualify above them lost.
Mm-hmm.
Favored by 3. They are 11-1, squaring off against Air Force, which is 8-4. This is a fascinatingly weird game to handicap. I spent so much time in this game. I did 21 games? You did 21 games. I spent way too much trying to figure this one out. First off, you've got the James Madison story, which is a great one. After all the BS with the NCAA for the entire duration of the season, they find a way to get into this football game, which is a fun matchup. It's a weird just battle of interesting offensive struggles,
Sure.
or offensive styles, I should say, and struggles.
Right.
In some
Yeah.
cases for Air Force, right? JMU's got a bunch of guys in the portal, notably among them Jordan McLeod, the starting quarterback, 5 defenders, but it sounds like those portal guys are still going to play in this game.
Okay.
They're still going to play, I'm guessing because it is a momentous moment for this program. They just got to FBS a year ago. They didn't think they were going to be in a bowl or have a chance to play for anything in the postseason. Now they are. I think it speaks volumes about those guys that they want to stick around for this. So that, I think, is a nice boost for them.
Is Jordan McLeod playing?
Jordan McLeod is supposedly playing in this football game.
Okay.
I suppose that could change. Again, we're recording this on December the 6th. If things change, we'll put that out on the website that we built at playwinterwonders.com. But at time of recording, Jordan McLeod is playing, as are the 5 defenders that are also going to be going elsewhere after this season. Jalen Green, I don't believe, is going to be playing for James Madison. He was their big edge rusher. He got hurt, didn't play the last 3 games. I'm assuming he's going to go pro, won't be part of this game, probably still hurt, but keep your eyes peeled for that one. There is that huge emotional lift for JMU for getting to this bowl game. And on top of it, I would add that Air Force has been a mess the last month of the season without their quarterback, Zach Larrier. Now, it sounds like he could be back for this bowl game, which I think changes things a bit. But I don't know. So this is one of those wait and see type things. Air Force obviously likes to run it with the option. That is their thing. But James Madison has the #1 rush defense in the SP+. I'm going to go with the Dukes here. I'm going to go low confidence. I think they absolutely want to be there more than almost anybody this bowl season. And the fact that they are not losing all of those guys until after this game, to me, is really indicative of them caring. So I'm on the Dukes here. I think they care more than almost anybody. I would be inclined to pick them over a great number of teams that they are not supposed to beat. I don't think Air Force is one of them. They're favored in this game.
Okay.
But I'm going to go Dukes here. I said low confidence. I'll say medium confidence because I know they want to be there.
Fair. It depends on Air Force's quarterback's health. And another important thing to remember is Air Force won this game last year and fully broke the Baylor football program in the process. How has Baylor been since losing to Air Force in what I believe was this the coldest measured bowl game of all time last year?
It was wild. Yeah. Really cold.
It fully broke Baylor. Maybe there were other factors as well, but this was Baylor last year. I think they were 6-6 heading into this game. I'm going to go Air Force as well. So James Madison
Air
also.
Force. I'm
going Air
going,
Force.
I'm going James Madison.
James Madison also lost their coach, did they not?
They lost their coach.
I just think there's a little bit of uncertainty right now.
I think the fact that they lost the coach but retained so much of the talent that those guys want to stand around and play in this game and not go off the parts unknown. That to me, again, I don't take the coach loss thing with as much importance as I do effort otherwise. And this to me is like as good a signal as you're going to get that there's effort. These guys want to be there.
All right. I think we disagree, although the collapse of Air Force as they've been beat up is not something to shrug off.
November was pretty bad.
It's brutal out here.
If it's a December to remember, it's a November to forget. Yeah.
Famous Idaho Potato Bowl, 23rd December, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, ABC. Utah State 6-6, Georgia State 6-6. Dan, who you got?
I'm taking Utah State with medium confidence. Their offense was ahead of their own defense. They won their final 3 of 4. They did get shelled by Boise State. They did a nice job throwing the ball downfield. Georgia State is sort of limping into bowl season. They lost their final 5 games, but remained eligible. Better offense than defense, but still not anything special. Georgia State won its last 2 bowl games in 2020 and 2021. Utah State has split its last 2 under Blake Anderson. I'm going to go with a little bit more momentum, which doesn't exist, but in my mind it does. Utah State and the Aggies, medium confidence.
Yeah, I like Utah State there as well. The 68 Ventures Bowl. You know what 68 Ventures is? You have any
Couldn't
idea?
even begin to guess.
It is a, I believe, real estate holdings company. Something
Okay.
of that ilk.
Real estate services that deliver results for clients, customers, and partners.
My
Daphne,
first thought,
Alabama,
my first thought was why they didn't go 69 Ventures.
of course. Too
But
obvious, Ty.
68 Ventures, for whatever that's worth to you. This game is on December the 23rd, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN. South Alabama 6-6, Eastern Michigan 6-6.
By the way,
like South Alabama.
all of their, like, the head of 68 Ventures, this is an unnecessary tangent, Ty, but all of the head of this company, 68 Ventures, they all have names that sound like they could be Sunbelt quarterbacks. You ready?
Go ahead.
All right. If I were to list off, like, these are the Sunbelt quarterbacks in order of, like, quarterback rating from 2003. You ready? Nathan Cox, Drew Dolan, Adam Campbell, Sam Hagenis, Hanson Babington, Walter Folks,
Hanson Babington, that's an alias. Nobody's
Will
name.
Lowry, Chadwell Cunningham. You're telling me Chadwell Cunningham didn't throw for 3,100 yards for I know Marshall's a recent entry into the Sun Belt, but, like, Chadwell Cunningham, like, was he not a walk-on at Georgia for Mark Richt? Come on.
Transferred out to App State. Yeah.
It's too obvious. All right, that's all. That's your tangent of the day.
Do you have a pick in this game? South Alabama, Eastern Michigan?
South Alabama, absolutely. I'm fading the MAC here, and South Alabama with a really impressive year once again. I'm going with the Jags.
The SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. I call this the very poor man's Rose Bowl.
Okay.
23rd of December, 7:30, ABC. Northwestern at 7-5, Utah at 8-4. So this is really, really interesting because Utah is the better team. Utah's the better team, but they've taken on serious water. Bryson Barnes, transfer portal. Nate Johnson, backup quarterback, transfer portal.
But is Barnes playing? I feel like I saw that he's portal but playing, but maybe that's changed.
Unclear to me.
Okay.
All I've seen a lot of is that it might be Luke Batari's team in this bowl game, in the Las Vegas Bowl.
Yeah, I'm seeing Bryson Barnes to enter transfer portal after bowl game as of 2 days ago.
It's a little unclear what's going to happen here with the quarterback situation, but okay, just keep that in the back of your mind as you're picking this game. Maybe come back to it. I don't know what the status is there, but I said it's interesting, right?
Sure.
Luke Batari played in the final game of the season, and if he plays again in the bowl game, just kind of factor that in. Devon Vailey,
Yep.
opting out. Jonas Ellis, the defensive lineman, could also opt out and go pro. I'm not entirely sure Utah gives a damn about this game. I don't think they care. Kyle Whittingham went 11-1 his first 12 bowl games. He's since lost his last 4, including back-to-back Rose Bowls. Like I said, poor man's Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Maybe he loses another one here. I'm just not sold on Northwestern. All right. I'm not sold in the Big Ten West. If
what
you're
more
fading
does
the MAC,
Northwestern need to do?
They need to do a lot more to convince me they can beat a team like Utah. I still think Utah is pretty good. I still think I like Utah here, high confidence. Even with some of the uncertainty, give me the Utes. Favored by 7, I like the Utes.
I'm going Northwestern here. Not because I think they're better, but just because of the way the season played out and the opt-outs, and even if Bryson Barnes plays, obviously this is going to be his last game, and maybe there's emotion both ways. I'm going with Northwestern here. I think they're riding high. They finished the season winning 4 of 5, right? They scored a bunch of points against Illinois. I think they're operating.
All right.
I think Utah's a mess.
Easy post Hawaii Bowl.
Yes.
San Jose State 7-5, Coastal Carolina 7-5. Play this one 23rd December, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. San Jose State losing their stud left tackle Fernando Carmona, as well as their tight end Dominic Mazzotti, which is going to hurt. But Coastal is going to be without Grayson McCall. And I think that's the bigger loss because they're also going to be down starting wide receiver, a linebacker. They're also 10 hours away from this game. It's like a long trip for a game that doesn't really matter.
Yep.
You're going to Hawaii, which is nice, but I think San Jose State's got the better coach. I'll take Brent Brennan any day over Tim Beck. I got San Jose State high confidence here.
Yeah, they were a different team the second half of the year. I think I'm going with them as well.
Quick Lane Bowl, 26th of December, day after Christmas. This one's 2 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. It's Bowling Green 7-5, Minnesota 5-7. Getting into this bowl game, Dan.
Bowling Green finished the year winning 5 of 6. They are led by their defense, led by a great pass rush, a great tackling team. They beat Georgia Tech this year. They were right there with Toledo. They've got a couple studs on both sides of the ball. Harold Fannin at tight end, Cassius Howell off the edge, an absolute terror. Minnesota finishes 0-4. That features a close loss to Illinois. We'll see. Maybe Darius Taylor is back and playing. He was a bright spot early on, but dealt with injuries all year long. They've got a great kicker, an all Big Ten kicker in Dragan Kesic, who you remember kicked that game winner over Nebraska to open the season up with Gus Johnson going crazy. Minnesota has won their last 6 bowl games. So PJ Fleck and the Gophers, show out in late December, I guess. They won last year's Pinstripe Bowl over Syracuse. I still think there's a talent advantage. Minnesota wins this game ugly in the Quick Lane Bowl. Medium confidence in a Midwestern battle.
I like Minnesota. I'm on Minnesota high confidence there. I
Okay.
like them a lot. Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. Texas State 7-5, Rice 6-6. Day after Christmas, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN.
Yeah, this could have been fun or more fun. I still think it'll be a fun game because both of these teams have interesting offenses. JT Daniels has medically retired from football and now will shift into coaching as the next part of his journey. So I think we wish him all the best. He's been around college football for a long time, and so hopefully it's a great move for his health and happiness.
It won't be the same. It
What?
won't be the same without seeing JT Daniels in the transfer portal this offseason.
I know.
I feel like it's an annual rite of passage. I do. I wish him well. I'm not making fun of him.
Yeah, no, of course.
I just feel like he's always in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I agree. So Texas State, led by, familiar name as well, TJ Finley.
Wow.
Texas State bookended their season by beating Baylor and South Alabama. I mean, those are two legit programs. South Alabama at the moment, perhaps more so than Baylor. Texas State's defense is kind of a mess. Rice is similarly led by its offense. It was JT Daniels. Dean Connors, which is a great name. He handles all of my investments in my retirement account. Luke McCaffrey, familiar name, of course. They're strong in the red zone. Rice beat a bunch of bad teams. They also beat Houston, which is also bad. And they also gave good teams a great shot when you look at what they were able to do against teams like SMU and Tulane. This is the bowl debut of Texas State, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Rice lost
right.
the Lending Tree Bowl last year. I'm going Texas State here. TJ Finley and Dean Connors, Esquire, with a huge performance.
Guaranteed Rate Bowl between Kansas and UNLV is a good matchup.
I like this one.
Day after Christmas, 9 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. Kansas is favored by 12 at time of recording. They lost their offensive coordinator to Penn State. They may lose Kobe Bryant, their cornerback, to the portal.
Mm-hmm.
There are also some rumors that UNLV quarterback Jordan Maeva may also jump in the portal. Haven't heard anything yet at time of recording. Obviously, things could change, but he had a good year. Both these teams are great stories. And for as good of a story as Kansas was a year ago, UNLV might be the better story this season. I think they'll be motivated here. I don't think they've got the defense to run with Kansas. That is my only reservation about picking the running Rebs. I really like the season that they had. I think they're going to be fired up as hell for this game. But I think Kansas just has so much on offense, and they're going to be able to score at will. Jason Bean will play in this game. I think Kansas will still have its offense out there in full force. So, battle of two teams, neither of which plays a whole lot of defense. I'm going to take the better offense in Kansas, high confidence.
Same. I also don't like the turnover situation we had from UNLV against Boise State. Maybe that was a one-off situation, but I'm going Kansas here with a time to get healthy. I think is going to be meaningful too for the Jayhawks.
The GoBowling.com Military Bowl. You know what GoBowling.com is?
Nope.
It's a site to help you figure out where to go bowling.
Oh, great. That makes sense. Good name.
Very literally named. Virginia Tech, 6-6. Tulane, 11-2. This is a weird matchup to me, man.
Okay.
You know what the point spread is in this game? You want to take a guess?
No.
Take a guess.
Virginia Tech, Tulane. Virginia Tech by 1.5. Tulane without its head coach.
Virginia Tech minus 7.5 points.
Willie Fritz moving to Houston. Okay.
It's a lot of points here. December 27th, 2 p.m. on ESPN. Willie Fritz is gone. I think Michael Pratt will also be gone at time of recording. I don't know that for sure. They've got a freshman wide receiver, Chris Brazzell, gone. On paper, these teams are extremely evenly matched. And I think this is one where you go against the team losing the coach. I think losing Willie Fritz here is a problem. I also think Virginia Tech was very motivated down the stretch.
I do too. Super impressive.
They beat the brakes off of UVA in the Commonwealth Cup.
Well, yeah, always do. Yeah.
I'm going Tech medium confidence here. I think this is a really, really nice story and the kind of thing that Tech can use going into the offseason to build some positive momentum. It took a little bit to get going, but you know as well as I, down the stretch, we're talking, all right, Kyron Jones throws a nice ball. It seems like they're playing a little bit better. They are playing sound defense. It's not a bad team. It's not as bad of a team as I think we feared, as certainly a lot of Virginia Tech Hokie fans feared coming into the season. They got it together late. I feel like they've got a lot of momentum going into this game. So
another sort of snip-snap team, right? Win-loss, win-loss, win to finish out the year. I'm going to go with Virginia Tech here. And if it is Kai Horton for Tulane, I don't know what his health status is, but if it is Kai Horton, I mean, he's a quality option, as we saw against Ole Miss. So I think Tulane's still going to be good. I like Virginia Tech here with time to prepare, and Tulane, not in disarray, but obviously going through a number of changes. Willie Fritz taking off.
Now we're starting to get into some of the big boy matchups, Dan.
Yes.
Duke's Mayo Bowl, 27th of December, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It is North Carolina, 8-4. It is West Virginia, 8-4. Who you picking?
I think I like. Oh, man, this is a tough one. I think I like
so tough.
Okay, so first of all, we don't know Drake May's status at the time of recording, and if he's going to play in this game. I believe he is leaning. The stories I've seen, it seems that they're going to have him in this one to play one last game with North Carolina before opting out for the NFL. Obviously, North Carolina had a fast start, but lost 4 of 6. The defense collapsed to finish the year, especially against the pass. Not that West Virginia is incredible, but they did generate more explosive plays downfield this year than they did last year. West Virginia, on the other hand, won their final 4 of 5. Garrett Green was solid when healthy. Their only really bad loss this year was to Houston, and that was on a Hail Mary. And I don't know what that says about the Big 12. I don't know what it says about West Virginia. This is Ty Hildenbrandt's Big 12, by the way.
That's right.
Where West Virginia is a Hail Mary away from going 9-3 in this super conference of ties. But West Virginia is solid. They're solid. North Carolina is largely solid, but they lose winnable games, and that's the problem in picking this game. North Carolina under Mac Brown has lost 3 straight bowl games. Last year, the holiday to Oregon. West Virginia has lost its last 4 of 5 bowl games, last year to Minnesota in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. I think Minnesota. I think West Virginia wants to be here a little bit more, whereas North Carolina might be disappointed. I'm going with West Virginia.
I'm on West Virginia, man.
I'm going ears.
I'm going ears. I think this is an interesting matchup. I think they could run on North Carolina. And this is an offense built around the run. If you're just keep North Carolina off the field. That's not to say West Virginia has any kind of shutdown defense, but
right.
Keep them off the field. You've got the advantage with the ground game. And I agree. Getting to 8 wins for Neil Brown, he was on the hot seat. He was the number 1 guy if you go out to coachhotseat.com, whatever.
Yeah.
Coming into this season. To win 8 games in the way that they did, the hell of a season. So, yeah, I agree. I think Neil Brown gets the Duke's Mayo dumped on him at the end of this one. DirecTV Holiday Bowl. Here we go. Louisville 10-3, USC 7-5, 27th of December, 8 p.m. on Fox. Caleb Williams not playing in this game, right?
Caleb Williams officially opted out. I think Marshawn Lloyd, it was said that he was going to play, and then when Lincoln Riley talked about the running backs that will be available, did not discuss Marshawn Lloyd, so it doesn't sound like he's going to be playing either. Obviously, they make the move at defensive coordinator, getting rid of Alex Grinch near the end of the year, now hiring Danton Lynn from UCLA. So they're in the middle of their own transition. Obviously, they're going to be sort of fast and furious in the portal as we speak. I couldn't imagine a team who wants to be in a bowl game less. Because it also seemed like a team who didn't want to be in the season less after losing a couple by the end of the year. So I have Louisville here just because of desire. SC started out fun, 6-0, finished 1-5. I don't know. I think Louisville, even with the disappointment of having the ACC available to them, I think it's still a positive year for them. So I'm going Louisville to be happy to finish out the year with a win.
Are we on Miller Moss watch?
Don't we have to be?
I think
who else
we
would be
have to
playing? I mean,
Miller
they could see
Moss
what they
watch.
have in Malachi Nelson, I guess, the freshman. It's because it doesn't affect eligibility. So
Miller
sure,
Moss.
yeah.
Is he going in the portal after this? He
Moss
should.
watch. No, I just think he's going to get a job. I don't know.
The Texas Tax Act Texas Bowl, 27th of December, 9 p.m. Texas A&M 7-5, Oklahoma State 9-4, 9 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. I have no idea who's going to play this game for A&M. I tried to find it. I have no idea who's playing this game.
Right.
They're basically going to be down their starting wide receiver core, a bunch of guys along the lines. They are still favored by 3.5 points in this game. But after losing Jimbo, after losing, I think, a bunch of guys who are obviously having conversations elsewhere,
Yeah.
I don't think they care about this game. I don't think they care. So I'm going Oklahoma State. Low confidence. I don't think they're the better team. I still would favor Texas A&M, and it wouldn't surprise me if A&M still won this game by like 2 touchdowns. But I don't think they care. Not a lick.
No.
So give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'll go with that.
Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Boston College, basically a home game here. Playing in Fenway Park. 6-6. SMU 11-2. Favored by 11.5, which is interesting. 28th of December, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, ESPN. Boston College has some interesting transfers, but it's a bunch of guys that really weren't playing down the stretch here. Meanwhile, SMU is going to be down Preston Stone. Didn't seem to matter a whole lot. Kevin Jennings did fine.
Yeah.
I think
Beat Tulane. Yeah.
SMU is clearly the better team. They won 9 in a row. They're solid on defense, but this game is a letdown because it's not a New Year's Six game. And it's a home game for BC. So give me the 9-3 goals, even though they went 6-6.
Outright.
I think low confidence, but this is a Thomas Castellanos game where he just runs wild. They end up winning the game in their backyard. So low confidence, Boston College for me.
Yeah, I'm going SMU. I just think they're better. And even though that's not as motivating, they didn't have like a special year, and losing the quarterback, I still think they're in it. I still think they're motivated, and BC loses their final 3 games of the year. Losing by 25 to Miami, losing by 26 to Virginia Tech, losing to Pitt. Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. We got a handful left here.
Let's do it.
Rutgers 6-6, Miami 7-5, 28th of December, 2:15 Eastern on ESPN. Rutgers in a bowl game. This is a nice story. Do you think Miami cares?
I mean, we always care about the bad boys. The Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. Ty, you own a hat. You own a Pinstripe Bowl hat.
It wasn't a Bad Boy Mowers then.
No, it's true.
I think it was New Era. But I'd wear a Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl hat. Yeah, for sure.
Miami dealing with a bunch of opt-outs, especially on defense. TVD has entered the portal. Emory Williams hurt, so it's a Ja'Cory Brown game for Miami. I don't know. Miami lost their last 3 of 4. Both units for Miami have been decent. It was just too many mistakes late in games. Rutgers lost their last 4, still led by their defense, which is pretty good. Their DBs made plays, even in losing efforts. I just don't see where the points are coming from for Rutgers, so I'm taking Miami here with medium confidence.
I'm a Miami, high confidence, yeah.
Okay.
I like Miami here. I don't like Miami in general, but I think in this matchup, I agree. I don't know where the points are coming from. Pop-Tarts Bowl. Here we go. Pop-Tarts Bowl, 28th of December, 5:45, ESPN. NC State, 9-3, Kansas State, 8-4. The story around this game is that there is an edible trophy.
Yes.
It's like
is it an edible trophy or an edible mascot?
Edible mascot, I guess.
Okay.
Edible mascot. Whoever wins gets to take the big bite out of the mascot. They asked Dave Doran about it. He seemed uncomfortable. That made it even better.
But willing, ultimately willing.
Ultimately willing to take a big bite out of the Pop-Tarts mascot. Yeah, if they win. So We don't need to talk about the hygiene component of that, but it can't be any worse than having a big thing of mayonnaise dumped on you. And at least it's creative. So I give Pop-Tarts some credit on that front.
I would argue that there are many more bowls that should have edible mascots. I mean, we're going to get to the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
We have a Cheez-It Bowl.
Yep.
We have Chadwell Cunningham in the 68 Ventures Bowl. So we have a big edible Subway Chadwell Cunningham. I think that's his name. Yeah.
Who you got?
I don't know who's playing.
NC
Which one is this?
State,
NC State, Kansas State. Yes,
Yeah.
I did do this game. I think I have NC State in this one, actually. Kansas State down. Now their offensive coordinator, Chris Kleiman, headed to Texas A&M. Down their starting quarterback, and Will Howard, not Walker Howard, as I mentioned.
Colin Klein. Colin Klein headed to A&M, not Chris Kleiman. Yeah.
Chris Klein, excuse me. That would be a news story. Colin Klein.
Yeah.
That's very difficult with Chris Kleiman and Colin Klein. Chris Kleiman is there. Colin Klein is not. Will Howard is not. NC State won their last 6 of 7. Pretty tough slate, by the way. Their defense is better than their offense. Weird portal stuff with one of their quarterbacks, and MJ Morris, who decided to shut it down halfway into the year.
Yeah,
Kansas State finishes the year winning 2 of 3. They couldn't really generate or stop big plays. Awesome in the red zone, though, on both sides. NC State has lost their last 3 straight bowls that they played in. You'll remember that last-second UCLA Holiday Bowl cancellation. Kansas State has lost 2 of their last 3 bowl games, including getting drilled by Alabama in last year's Sugar Bowl. All in all, going with defense here and NC State. They just kind of have winning DNA. You know, they won on the CW against Clemson, winning against North Carolina. It was a tough stretch that they did really well down. So I'm going with the Pack here.
I'm going Wolfpack as well. I pretty consistently undersold this team all year. And again, I'll
almost rightfully so, though, with how they kind of started out. Yeah.
I said they were the 8th best team in the ACC. I think they finished 3rd. It was a good year. It was a good year for the Pack. So good on them. I'll pick them with you. I'm with you there. Here we go. This is the bowl game of bowl season. Valero Alamo Bowl. It is Arizona 9-3. It is Oklahoma 10-2. 28th of December, 9:15 Eastern on ESPN. Oklahoma's losing Dylan Gabriel. We talked about that in the last episode. They're losing Jeff Lebby, which means that Jackson Arnold is starting. Someone else is calling the plays. Meanwhile, Arizona could be without Jordan Morgan, their big left tackle. Also, Jacob Cowing might go pro.
Yep.
The wide receiver. I think Arizona cares a lot more about this game. I think they care a lot more about this game. I don't think it's a situation where Oklahoma is going to be mailing it in, but I think losing your coordinator, I think losing your quarterback, even though I really like Jackson Arnold, I think Arizona's got a better defense than many realize. I think they've got a better offense than many realize. I think this is one of those games for Jed Fish that you win this one. This is a huge bit of momentum going into a new conference next season where, frankly, they could be one of the 5 best teams as presently composed in the new Big 12. So this one to me is a fun game. It's whoever has the ball last, which is why it's low confidence. But I'm inclined to go Arizona here.
Are they playing this game? Playing this game in Norman, Oklahoma?
No.
I'm not going Oklahoma here. And I'm sure Oklahoma fans would argue Jeff Lebby might be addition by subtraction after some of their close calls and losses this year and the past couple of years. I'm going with Arizona here as well. I think they're the ones looking to put that cherry on top of a wildly successful year.
The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Clemson 8-4, Kentucky 7-5, 29th of December at high noon. Here's what this comes down to. What this comes down to is Ray Davis for Kentucky is out.
Okay.
I have no idea how they're scoring without him. Full stop. Even against a defense that I think is probably going to get killed with opt-outs on the Clemson side. I'm on Clemson high confidence. High confidence, don't overthink it. Underthink express here.
Okay.
Clemson minus whatever. All right. Let's go to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, 29th of December, 2 p.m. CBS. Did you happen to see that the Sun Bowl reps were celebrating getting Notre Dame? Did you see
I would too.
Did you see it? There was like a whole bunch of celebration that went on. Some genuine weirdness.
You going to get Marcus Freeman in some boots?
Probably.
Yeah.
Some genuine weirdness, though, when it came to getting Notre Dame in a bowl game at all. And people have written articles about it. Go out there and check it out. It's Notre Dame 9-3, Oregon State 8-4. I'm curious how the Sun Bowl folks feel realizing that it's going to be like Steve Angeli against Ben Gulbranson.
Sure.
In this one, because I could see Sam Hartman opting out. I see both tackles, Joe Alt and Blake Fisher, opting out for Notre Dame. Audric Estime, Howard Cross, all those guys. Why bother? Why play in this game? That is on top of basically the entire receiver room for Notre Dame transferring out, which means I don't know what version of this offense we're going to get. And then meanwhile, on the Oregon State side, they lose their coach. They lose DJU. They lose Aiden Childs. They lose Damian Martinez, who's not going to be playing. I have no idea how you handicap this game. Notre Dame's favored by 9.5 points. But here's the other bit of weirdness, and I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah.
Who's the new coach for Oregon State?
Trent Bray.
Who is Trent Bray? Has he any familiarity with Oregon State?
Trent Bray's their defensive coordinator.
Their defensive coordinator. Current defensive coordinator, right?
And, well, he's about to be their head coach. He was sort of given interim and then taken off, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the weird part. So, he is the new coach, but may not coach in this game.
Correct. Busy with the portal. Busy with recruiting.
Busy with the portal, busy with recruiting. He's not going to coach.
I mean, he's interested.
He's interested, I'm sure, but he's not going to coach it. So he's the new coach. He's already on the staff, but he's not going to coach the game.
Yeah.
At least it doesn't sound that way.
Right.
They're going to let the guy that they named the interim coach be the actual coach for this football game where he's out doing, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
So,
newly hired head coach Trent Bray, according to the Portland Tribune, will not coach the team in any capacity for the bowl game.
it is the weirdest thing. And he's been on the staff. So
Yeah.
I don't get it. This is like the anti-Fickle that we saw last year where he wasn't on the staff and new coaches never coached the bowl game.
Yeah.
He was on the sidelines. He was doing interviews. It just weird. I don't get it. Notre Dame should still be able to run it and hold down an Oregon State offense. I don't know what they're going to do in offense. So give me Notre Dame here.
What's his name? Steve Angeli?
What did we say? I don't think you're ready for Angeli.
I don't think you're ready for Angeli. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Could be somebody else, but regardless, I think Notre Dame still has enough beef up front, enough firepower in their ground game that they will.
And they'll be showcasing a bunch of younger players,
which I'm fine with.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I'm good with Notre Dame with high confidence. Yeah.
Let's get in the zone, Dan.
Okay.
Let's go to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, 29th of December, 3:30 ESPN. Memphis 9-3, Iowa State 7-5. Who you got?
So Memphis is an offensive team, as we know. They finished winning 5 of their last 6. They only lost to good teams this year. Defense is pretty bad. There's no real pass rush for Memphis. Iowa State's offense took a nice step forward. It's still not great. The defense took a step back. Iowa State's offense is sort of an O-Town offense, all or nothing. So I think I still like Iowa State here. I like the way they closed out the year, winning in Farmageddon. I think they have just a little bit more because of the defense. So I'm going Iowa State, medium confidence. Didn't go to a bowl game last year. Last year was sort of a disaster on offense, and that hampered them. Right. Memphis has won their last 2 bowl games, including last year's First Responder Bowl, but I think Iowa State bounces back in a big way. Clones, medium confidence.
I watched one Memphis game in its entirety this year.
A home game for Memphis, by the way. But yeah,
home game for Memphis. I watched one Memphis game in its entirety. I've seen plenty of highlights.
Yeah.
That was the last Memphis game that I watched. It was undeniably frustrating. It feels like they should be better than they are, and they had a good season, went 9-3. So I'm on Iowa State high confidence here. I agree with you. Finally, we get to some of the big boys, okay?
All right.
Let's close this thing out strong, Danny. Goodyear Cotton Bowl. 29th of December, 8 p.m. ESPN. Ohio State 11-1. The Missouri Tigers 10-2. Missouri favored by 1 point. There is going to be an absolute ton of turnover on the Ohio State side. Kyle McCord, Julian Fleming, notably already in the transfer portal. I believe Devin Brown gets to start. If not, it is going to be 7th year Tristan Gebbia getting the start for Ohio State. I never thought I would see the day that Tristan Gebbia is getting the start for Ohio State, but it could happen in this football game, okay? Just saying.
Did you see what Devin Brown tweeted out today?
I did not.
He tweeted out the picture of the ships burning, like burn the boats, like I'm here. I'm not doing anything, right?
Yeah.
I'm committed. Will he still feel that way if Ohio State brings in a transfer before this game kicks off?
He's got no choice. He burnt the boats.
There's also Lincoln Kleinholtz, if I pronounced that correct.
That's right.
A 4-star from somewhere in Big Sky country who was at Washington, then committed to Ohio State. I think I like the stability of Mizzou here. And I think there's gonna be opt-outs on this Ohio State defense that we haven't seen yet.
Look, there are like 7 other guys in the portal
Yeah.
Guys like Keith Stokes, who didn't play a whole lot this year. But
Evan Pryor, I saw. Yeah.
Evan Pryor showed a lot of promise. There are going to be other potential opt-outs here, right? We've already got Marvin Harrison Jr. He's out. Emeka Igbuka, your favorite receiver. Trey Henderson, JT Tuimalu, Michael Hall, Denzel Burke, Josh Proctor, Jack Sawyer, Tyleek Williams. That's what the list could look like.
Yeah, those are all candidates.
Standpoint.
Yeah, obvious candidates.
It could look that catastrophic from an opt-out standpoint. Meanwhile, I think it is a full boat for Mizzou. I think it's going to be mostly a full boat. And I think they're excited to be in this game. This is a big deal for, you talk about guys who have been on the hot seat. Eli Drinkwitz coming into this game, or coming into the season being very much on the hot seat, turned the thing around, got the offense playing with a real identity, bringing Kirby Moore down. I'm on Mizzou. Low confidence, you know the drill. We put low confidence points on all these later games because they tend to be, at least in my opinion, harder to predict. It's only a 1-point line here in favor of Mizzou. So I just want to enjoy these games. Yeah. I'm on Mizzou, low confidence.
That sounds right to me.
Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. It's Penn State 10-2, Ole Miss 10-2, 30th of December, high noon. Looks like it's pretty much a full boat on both sides. Penn State took on some water. Chop Robinson declared for the NFL. I do think Olu Fashanu as well as Kalen King will probably do the same.
Did you see Lane Kiffin tweeted out congratulatory words to Chop Robinson?
I did.
So happy that he wasn't going to play.
I did.
Yeah.
If Kalen King leaves, that probably means fewer pass interference penalties against Penn State.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
So maybe a bit of silver lining there. There will also probably be more Penn Staters there than Ole Miss fans. There are a lot of Penn Staters in Atlanta. Very easy flight. I think it'll be a nice crowd.
Wow. More Penn Staters in Atlanta than Ole Miss people?
Don't be surprised.
Okay.
Don't be surprised. I'm not going anywhere near Penn State in this game. Nowhere near them. That offense sucks. I know they got rid of Mike Yurcich. Maybe it looked better against Michigan State. Ole Miss is a pretty good team, and I think they'll be pretty much loaded here. So if I were to put medium confidence on a game this slate, I would go Ole Miss medium confidence, but you know my rule of thumb. I go Ole Miss low confidence.
I'm going Penn State here. I'm still believing in this defense.
Don't do it. Do not do it.
Here,
don't care.
Who did Penn State lose to this year?
They lost to Michigan and Ohio State.
That's it.
Did you see how the offense looked against the only two good teams on the schedule?
When you watch Ole Miss play defense, you're like, that's a Michigan and Ohio State type defense right there.
I'm just saying, man, don't do it.
I'm going Penn State here. I feel great about it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You're out of your mind. You're too close.
Trans Perfect Music City Bowl. Auburn 6-6, Maryland 7-5. 30th of December, 2 p.m. on ABC. Who you got?
Auburn lost their last two, of course, New Mexico State and Alabama, two heavyweights, led by their defense, as we know. Maryland was pretty decent on both sides of the ball, but they did lose 3 of their last 5, and they were just not winners down the stretch. Maryland did win their last 2 bowl games. Last year, they won the Duke's Mayo Bowl, if you remember, with Mike Loxley and his giant Maryland hat.
Yeah.
You remember that.
That was awesome. That was the highlight of bowl season last year.
Auburn lost 3 straight bowl games in 5 of their last 6 bowl games. Doesn't matter. It's Hugh Freeze. It's his, maiden voyage for Auburn. I'm going to go Maryland here. I'm going to go Maryland with the quarterback advantage and Auburn with I'm not going to say it doesn't mean anything to Auburn, but I think everybody coaching-wise, behind-the-scenes-wise, has their heads in the portal, has their heads on recruiting, and I don't think this game is as much of a priority as is for Maryland.
Is this the swan song for Tua or for Talia?
Talia, yeah, it is.
I go Maryland low confidence.
Okay, I'm with you.
Capital One Orange Bowl, 30th of December, 4 p.m. ESPN. We're obviously going to do a much bigger preview of these games as they get closer. This is just sort of the primer, but Florida State 13-0, Georgia 12-1. You may have seen the awkward screenshot of the Zoom call, the pre-bowl Zoom call between Kirby Smart and Mike Norvell. Obviously, Florida State's going to have a lot to play for here. They're essentially playing for pride. They are going to be with their backup quarterback, Jordan Travis. Got hurt a couple weeks ago. Very sad.
What?
That's the reason they're not playing for more.
Yeah. Obviously.
So you could probably make the case that Florida State doesn't care about this game, not being in the playoff. You could also make the case that Georgia doesn't care about this game.
Certainly.
Could be dueling teams that would rather be in Cancun or would rather be playing in the college football playoff. I tend to favor Georgia here by a wide margin. I don't know what their frame of mind will be. I don't know if they're going to have to deal with opt-outs or anything of that nature, but
I think both of these teams are going to be dealing with a lot of opt-outs. Yeah,
I think so. I think it's going to be a shell of Florida State, and I think that, if nothing more, puts them at a supreme disadvantage here against a Georgia team that still is better from a depth standpoint.
Yeah, this game is impossible to pick. I'm going to go with Georgia here, just because the general talent level is higher. If both of these teams are dealing with a bunch of opt-outs, and you know all the names for Georgia that on both sides of the ball that could be missing from action in this one. So yeah, I'm still going to go Georgia here, just because I think the roster's in a better place, and if Carson Beck plays, then they're going to have the quarterback advantage over Tate Rodemaker.
It's playwinterwonders.com. We've got 6 more games to go through, and then
Let's
we'll
do it.
talk for a hot minute about the proposed national championship matchups as they stand per point spreads out on DraftKings. All right.
Ooh.
Here's what we got here. The Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl. It's Toledo at 11-2, squaring off against Wyoming at 8-4. 30th of December, 4:30. You can watch this one out on Barstool. This is the sicko game of bowl season. That's what this is. This is DeQuan Finn transferring out of Toledo, as is their big lineman, Vinny Scurry. I am picking Wyoming. I am not crazy about Wyoming.
Swan song for Craig Bowl?
Their coach is literally named Bowl.
That's true.
And he's retiring. This is a retirement match. How can you not go with the Cowboys here? So I go Cowboys. I go medium confidence.
Where's this game? What's this?
This is the Arizona Bowl. I believe they play this one at Chase Field.
Yeah. One of these games, was it the Insight Bowl where the camera fell?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Somewhere in Arizona. I don't know where it is. Doesn't matter. I'm on Wyoming.
I'm on Wyoming too. I'm going to fade the MAC here, especially without DeQuan Finn. So, yeah, give me Wyoming in the Swan Song game.
ReliaQuest Bowl, LSU against Wisconsin. This is a New Year's Day game. High noon, ESPN2. If you are looking for a game late in bowl season to put all of your confidence points on, this is probably the one.
Well, what's Jaden Daniels' status?
It doesn't matter.
It's Garrett Nussmeier time?
Garrett Nussmeier time, baby.
Yeah,
it is likely we get opt-outs from Jaden Daniels, as well as Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas out wide. Both those guys for LSU probably opting out. On the Wisconsin side, Braylon Allen's already out. He declared for the draft. They're down to 2 wide receivers in the portal. I think it's thin for Wyoming, Wisconsin at the skill positions in this one. And I just don't see how they're going toe-to-toe with LSU.
Yeah,
I know
LSU high confidence.
I know LSU's got issues with defense, but I have no idea. Wisconsin has far greater issues on offense at this point.
I agree. LSU high confidence.
High confidence minus whatever. Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, Dan. New Year's Day, Iowa 10-3, Tennessee 8-4, 1 p.m. ABC. This is an ABC. They put this on ABC? Oh, my God. What do you got?
I'm going to take Tennessee begrudgingly just because I just watched Iowa attempt to play college football against. Now, this is what happens, though, with Iowa, right? Their offense is terrible, and then who did they shut out? They shut out, like, Kentucky recently?
Yeah.
In the bowl game?
That was
like
last
they're
year.
just going to magically score, they win a game 21-3 or something like that. I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to go with Iowa here in the truly sick pick. They're going to win this game. Yeah, I'm standing by it. I don't know why. I don't know how, but they're going to throw a bunch of trick plays at them.
They're going to score like 35 points on Tennessee.
Yeah, that's just what happens with Iowa football.
You could definitely see a game in which Tennessee can't run because Iowa's got a good front, and Joe Milton throws 4 interceptions, and Iowa scores a couple touchdowns. You know what? Screw it.
I hate the pick. I do.
Iowa low confidence. Iowa low confidence. I don't know what the point spread is.
Yeah.
I don't even want to look. It'll spook me. I'm with you. Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Oregon 11-2, Liberty 13-0. This is a New Year's Day 1 p.m. game on ESPN. Does Oregon give a damn about this game? I saw Bo Nix is playing.
Bo Nix is playing. They're going to deal with opt-outs. Probably their best corner, their best defensive lineman, their best 2 defensive linemen maybe out. Maybe their center. Probably their number 1 receiver. None of this is official at the time of recording. But I don't know. They've recruited really well. They're deep. Yeah, I think it's an interesting opportunity for a lot of youth in this game. So I believe Liberty played the worst schedule in America. Their strength of schedule was kind of like 132 or something. So I'm going to go Oregon big, high confidence.
Oregon big, high confidence. All right, let's close this guy out. Let's get to the playoffs. Rose Bowl. Michigan favored by 1.5. They're 13-0, scoring off against Alabama. Alabama 12-1, notably so. Made it into the playoff. This one's on New Year's Day, 5 p.m. ESPN. Again, we are going to do a much more comprehensive breakdown of these playoff games when we get a little bit closer. So, First off, though, you know the formula. The formula is this is low confidence regardless. So put like 1, 2, or 3 points on it. Just enjoy it. Same for the other playoff games. Same for the national championship. Don't worry yourself with these games. Just enjoy. Bear in mind, I picked Michigan as my national champion back in July. So I've got a vested interest here. I will be rooting for them.
Because of that pick?
Because of the pick.
Okay.
Not because they're a likable team this year.
Right.
Because of circumstances, but just because I picked them. My gut was Alabama. My gut was Alabama outright because of how they stopped Georgia's running game. And I've said this a bunch of times now. I've gotten a little bit of pushback. Generally, the Georgia and Michigan experience, the philosophies on offense are kind of similar. You control the line, be physically dominant, be a run-first team, control the clock if you have to, but you also have the efficient passing game that can keep the defense from overcommitting. In Michigan's case, JJ McCarthy's legs, I think, are also a weapon here. And so I think we will see much more of that than we did with, Carson Beck. Obviously, they're just different players.
Yeah.
Not the same systems, but similar enough. Seeing Bama shut down the Georgia version on the ground caused me to rethink my stance on this. So I'm reserving my right to change my pick the closer we get. But right now, I'm 1 confidence point on Alabama.
I'm taking Alabama with medium confidence. And maybe that'll change as we do a longer preview of this matchup. But I don't know. You give Jim Harbaugh a month to prepare for a playoff game, and he doesn't win. No. You give Nick Saban a month to prepare for a playoff game, and he wins almost always.
That's the thing. The coaching matchup with giving Nick Saban that much time to prepare is always, I don't know. It's tough to bet against that.
I don't think Alabama's amazing, but I don't know. A week ago, we watched Michigan and J.J. McCarthy lead his offense to 0 touchdown drives against Iowa. Really good defense, but I don't know. If we're talking about confidence, I don't have a ton of confidence right now in the Michigan offense. Like, this is the name of the game is Winter Wonders. Like,
I mean, they scored.
You're matching up. They scored.
They scored on like drives of 5 and 6 yards.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It was like after a fumble recovery and after a long punt return. Those were the touchdowns. And so I'm just not in on where Michigan is as a finished product. And if the game is Winter Wonders, are you taking like Jermaine Burton and Isaiah Bond, or are you taking Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson? Like they couldn't get it done against Ohio State consistently. They couldn't get it done against Iowa. And you're asking me to do it against Alabama with a month? I'm not there. So Alabama right now.
Last playoff game, All-State Sugar Bowl. This one's the final game on New Year's Day, 8:45. Traditional time slot for the Sugar Bowl on ESPN. It is Washington 13-0, Texas 12-1. Texas is a 4.5-point favorite here, Dan. What side are you on?
I'm done picking against Washington. Washington with medium confidence.
Yeah, we're going to have to come back to this one, but Washington, I think you said something that was very, very telling and very true on the last episode. Washington's the most likable team in this thing at this point.
Doesn't mean they're going to win.
Doesn't mean they're going to win, but they're fun to root for. They're fun to root for because Michigan's got the whole cheating scandal. Alabama and Texas, depending on where you stand on those teams, you can make a case that neither should be in over Florida State.
Right.
And, Bama's easy to root against because they win every year or every other year. Mm-hmm. Texas, there are a lot of people that don't like Texas, but Washington sort of skates clear of all of those other storylines.
It's Michael Penix with controlled weather too.
You got Michael Penix, who's a Heisman finalist. You've got a fun offense in Washington in a way that you could argue none of these other offenses are nearly as fun.
Beat them last year in the Alamo Bowl too, right?
Last
Washington
year in the
beat
Alamo
Texas.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined to go points here. When we get to the actual preview, I'm inclined to go Washington plus the 4.5.
Okay.
So I think I'm with
We
you
agree.
here. That brings us then to the final game. We don't know who's playing in this yet. Okay. We're just going to mention that there are a couple point spreads out right now. If there were a matchup between Alabama and Washington, Alabama would be favored by 6. If it's Alabama against Texas, Alabama would be favored in that rematch by a 2.5 point margin.
Fair.
And if it is Michigan from the other side of the bracket, it is Michigan -3 against Texas. If it is Washington, they are a 6.5 point dog against the Wolverines. So obviously, the way that the point thing is set up, you can put 1 confidence point on that final game. Go through your pick. You'll see the way it works. Don't put any confidence points unless you are abundantly confident in who's going to be in that game and who's going to win. But that being said, that does it, Dan. We made it through all 43 games. My voice is dying.
Yeah.
Your voice is dying.
Yeah.
This is, again, a primer. PlayWinterWonders.com. We want you to get out there and get into our bowl pool. And to close things out here, just because it's something that we do on this episode and because it's something I'm going to continue to do all throughout the remainder of bowl season, Dan.
I'm listening.
Ty versus the world.
Die Welt, le monde, el mundo, Sekai,
Świat.
Ty versus the world.
Presented by DraftKings Sportsbook.
You know, I hit my parlay last week.
I saw that. What did you call it again? It was the big something.
Yeah, the big blowout parlay.
Yeah.
We've got Army-Navy this week, don't we?
Yes, we do.
We got Army-Navy this week. My only bet for this game is this one, which I'm going to call the All-American parlay, or Stars and Stripes. Which do you like better?
Let's go Stars and Stripes.
Stars and Stripes parlay?
More evocative. Yeah.
Stars and Stripes. This is a 3-way parlay. The over-under for this game at time of recording is 27.5 points. They're playing this one up at Foxborough. That's no points. That is nothing. It wouldn't surprise me if they go over. I get why it's as low as it is. So here's what I'm saying. The combination of these 3 bets. Army scoring over more than 1.5 touchdowns.
Okay.
Just got to score twice. I think they
Yeah.
can do it. Navy scoring more than 9.5 points. Rivalry game. Not a great offense this year, but
Fair enough.
could score more than 9.5 points. And Army money line. I think Army's a better team.
Okay.
Those are the only 3 things that you need to have happen to get 3.5 to 1 odds on the Stars and Stripes parlay.
I like
That's all it
that.
takes. Seems straightforward, yeah?
Where are they playing this year?
They're playing at Foxborough,
Okay.
Massachusetts.
Yeah. I'm good with it. I like that, Ty. Zazzy.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code SOLID. New customers get 150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code SOLID, SOLID. The crown is yours. We did it, Dan. We did the primer.
It's a lot of games.
We made it the full way through. PlayWinterWonders.com. For those of you watching the video.
Beat us. Beat us.
I did want to throw one other thing out there.
Okay.
Let's secret verbal somebody with this link.
Okay.
I am proposing we start with Mike Golick Jr. and continue.
Oh, okay. I like
All right.
that.
So
Challenge them.
Let's get people to go out there, tag Mike Golick Jr. out on X or Twitter, zeet him
Yeah.
with the link to PlayWinterWonders.com. And I don't know, challenge him. Tell him that he doesn't have what it takes to compete. Tell him that you don't think he's got what it takes to finish top half of the Verballerhood. I don't care what you say. Be nice to him because we like Mike. But
Of course.
send him the link. We're going to start challenging people in secret verbal fashion.
Yeah. Why are you so scared of Ty?
Why are you
Who
so
is the
scared of
more
Dan?
physical Notre Dame person? Ty Hildenbrand or Mike Golick Jr.? Yeah.
Again, it's PlayWinterWonders.com. Thank you for bearing with us. Hopefully this primer is of use to you before you go out there and make your picks. The bowl games start on December the 16th, so you've got plenty of runway to go out there and do some of your own research. But as at least a starting point, I think this was a pretty good one, Dan.
Cannot wait.
PlayWinterWonders.com.
I love bowl season.
One more time. Love bowl season. For that guy over there, my good friend Dan Rubenstein. For myself, Ty Hildebrand. Thanks for taking Bowl Games 101. We'll talk to you soon. Stay solid.
Peace.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See dkng.co/football for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility